It's really hard sometimes when something happens and I have like two diametrically opposite reactions at the same time. I heard about something that Chris Hadfield had done on the International Space Station, published soon, I understood, to be on YouTube, and of some sort of entertainment value. Okay, I knew that. I heard about that. I guess that was in the news. I don't really actually know exactly how I found out. But the point is, I was already irritated. I was already irritated before I watched the video. Now, I suppose I can be irritated by a lot of things, but I was irritated in particular about the idea that the United States, a bunch of other countries, mostly the United States, would spend $100 billion to build an international space station. Now, I'm already predisposed to be a little irritated because after that $100 billion and after multiple crews, I think more than 24 crews have switched out, there is very little understanding in the public and even in the scientific community, the world I inhabit, as to what the hell goes on up there. So, I'm already predisposed to say, I don't know what goes on up there. I don't have the sense that it is a tremendously valuable endeavor, at least in comparison to the cost. And so that's where my initial reaction, probably the very first nanosecond of the reaction, comes from, which is, here is a very expensive machine, the most expensive machine by far that's ever been built, to a purpose that is ill-defined at best. I can list out certain advantages. I'm not bashing the ISS, but I'm just saying, from my perspective as an American taxpayer who's helped to fund this along with everybody else. Okay, we have a guy, playing the guitar, doing a music video, aboard the International Space Station. Okay. All right. I kind of worked my way through that. I said, all right, the other part, and I said there were two things that hit me at once. One was that, the cost, the expense, the sense of, like, what the hell are we doing up there if the only thing we ever hear about is some guy playing a guitar reposing a David Bowie song about being in space. Well, the other side is that, okay, I'm, a spacecraft systems engineer. I teach some units on that at Brown University. I'm also graduating with a degree in planetary science, studying the planets. I have that whole science engineering thing kind of really wound up tight. But prior to that, or during the free time of my life, I'm also a photographer and an artist, and I like to write. I've even written poetry. I like to sing. So there's a part of me that is like, yes, somebody's actually doing something in space other than boring, well, quote unquote boring, at least analytically, intense, non-artistic. Somebody's actually doing something artistic as opposed to the usual things that go on in space, which is like surviving, fixing things, going places really So that was, at the same time I'm saying, what a waste of money. I'm saying, if we're really going to go into space, if we are really going to say that we are explorers of space, if we're going to get onto a rocket and launch ourselves into space and inhabit space and try to learn about space while being there, we also need to bring along our humanity. We also have to understand that we're not just scientists. We're not just engineers. We're not just pilots. We're not just people running experiments. We're not just, exploring the numbers of space. We're also potentially bringing our humanity into space. And so, a guitar playing, being played on the ISS, a music video being produced on the ISS. It's like, sure, why not? Why not? When people explored all kinds of wilderness on this planet, they brought musical instruments along. They brought a harmonica. Maybe they brought a guitar. They sang around the campfires. They brought their artistic sense with them. They brought sketch pads. They wrote about what they saw. They wrote about not just the science of what they saw, but they wrote about how they felt about it. And so it occurs to me that, okay, yeah, it's really expensive to go into space. It's really expensive to live there. It's really expensive to maintain the equipment. And there's the official justification, which is the science. That we're trying to push the capability, the technical capability, and learn something while we're there. But what's the point in going there if we leave our humanity behind?